I'm Asger. You can ask me anything. Today I'm answering this question. Should victimless crimes be crimes at all? I am sure that to some of you, you're asking yourselves, why on earth is he entertaining something this obvious? No, of course they shouldn't be. If there are no victims, why should they be criminalized? And I am obviously sympathetic to that point of view, but as always, I like to try to attack things from different angles, really just to examine my own opinion, because my own gut reaction, my knee-jerk reaction to this question truly is to just say, of course they shouldn't be. But there must be some reasons, there must be philosophical arguments that one can make against this intuitive stance. So I'm going to try and go over just a few of them to see if my stance on this holds up to scrutiny. So what could be a reason to criminalize something that has no victims? The most obvious place to look is perhaps morality. It used to be illegal to be unfaithful, at least for women. In some countries, apostasy is still illegal. You could be killed, you could be executed for denouncing your religion. That's another example. So when I interviewed John McAfee over on my podcast MetaQuest, I remember he talked about how governments regulate drug use. Why is it not my own decision what I put into my own body? Another example could be that you are in most American states and EU countries, at least as far as I know, required by law to wear a seatbelt while you operate your vehicle. But that's also one of those things where you can say, yeah, the potential victim is just myself. If I am willing to take that risk, why should I not be allowed to? Well, this is where the individual's perspective clashes with the statistical perspective, or in many cases, the politician's perspective, perhaps. So if we just look at road statistics before and after seatbelts were introduced in the first round and in the second round, before and after they became mandatory, that there's just no doubt that more people died in car crashes before there was such a thing as a seatbelt, and even less people died after it became a requirement by law to wear one. But I can see a couple of objections to just removing this law. One is that you could say it's a victimless crime, but I mean, you could be the victim. But what's the crime? Well, the crime would be to whoever you leave behind, right? I mean, I don't know how many kids lost a parent in traffic accidents before it became a legal requirement to wear a seatbelt. And the other and perhaps best argument is that if you for some reason do not want to wear a seatbelt, here's a tip: just don't. But that's illegal, you say. So what? If you don't want to wear it, just don't wear it. I mean, this is one of these things where, I mean, I certainly have great sympathy for many libertarians who are typically the people who question legislation. And I have this thing in common with the libertarians, that I love my own freedom. I'm very much a freedom-loving individual, and I value it and appreciate it highly. But it's just a mystery to me why people who identify as libertarians don't just think, well, just because it's illegal, that doesn't mean that I can't just do it. I mean, it's not like you're gonna get the electric chair if you take a drive down the I-5 without your seatbelt on. You're gonna get a fine, right? And even chances are you're not even gonna get a fine. So we have to consider this too. Just because things are illegal doesn't mean that no one does them, and it doesn't mean that you can't do them either. And I'm not encouraging anyone to break the law. I'm just saying, if you are so freedom-loving, if your freedom means more to you than some sort of statistical safety, and you really just don't want to wear your seatbelt, I mean, you can just not wear it. Same thing can be said with drugs, right? I think drugs is an interesting example because, I mean, I'm sure we can agree that some drugs are very lethal because they're very easy to OD on. So in that sense, it makes sense that we don't flood society with them more than they already are. But other drugs, I mean, weed is probably the most obvious example, right? It's legal here in California to smoke weed, but it's not legal to drive on the freeway being stoned on weed. And that's also another consideration here. When we combine a victimless crime, such as smoking weed, let's say, with something that isn't even a crime, such as operating a motor vehicle or owning an assault rifle, the combination of those two might create a dangerous scenario. I realize weed is a really bad example, but cocaine maybe. I mean, I certainly wouldn't, I don't think I would stay in this area if I knew that all my neighbors had guns and did cocaine every single day. So just to sum up and answer the question, should victimless crimes be crimes at all? I think if we can identify things, behaviors, phenomena as truly victimless, I would support decriminalizing them. I really would. And I actually think that's probably the case with most drugs. And I also think that insofar that we can identify legislation that is there strictly for moral reasons, perhaps even for moral reasons that belongs to the past, there's no reason that we should hold on to those things either. We can actually make some interesting thought experiments too. Let's say I was just sitting here and I had been filming these videos, and then I just left the camera running, and then I started drinking, and maybe I started thinking about how much I hate Donald Trump, and then I just said, no one was around, but I uttered the words, man, I'm gonna kill Donald Trump. And if someone got a hold of that recording, even though I didn't mean it, I was alone when I said it, I was under the influence of alcohol, I had no intention to carry it out, Donald Trump never heard about it, Donald Trump didn't feel threatened by it, I didn't harm anyone, I never carried out the threat, nothing happened. It was, by all meaningful definitions, a victimless crime. It would still be a crime, right? I mean, should that be illegal? I don't even know that it is illegal. When does this go from being legal to illegal? Let's say someone stole my phone and found this clip and says, "Oh, there's that YouTuber. He's threatening Donald Trump. Let me put it up online." And then some thief uploaded it to the internet, and I would be legally pursued because of it. I'm not saying this tape exists. It doesn't. But I mean, I guess it does now. Oh my God, what have I done? No, just kidding. But there are some gray areas here. I actually don't think that it should be illegal to say anything at all in the confines of your own home. I have to support the idea that insofar that legislation is there merely for moral reasons or historical moral reasons, I think we should get rid of that. But I can see how, for instance, just legalizing all drugs, I can certainly see how that would put more drugs out there, and some of these drugs would be inevitably found by kids who consumed them, and some of those kids would die. But we could apply that same logic to guns, right? Many people like to say that guns don't kill people, people kill people, which is, of course, in a strict sense, true, almost true at least. But it doesn't change the fact that the more guns we have lying around, the more times it'll happen in the course of any given calendar year that some baby just happens to see, oh, what's this lying around here, presses the trigger and kills their little brother or little sister, right? That just happens. So that can be a reason. Because we simply know, statistically speaking, that accidents will happen. I guess I'm sort of touching on the whole gun debate here. I don't want to get into that in this video. But there can be logical reasons for society to pass laws against victimless crimes, but I think we should really do a spring cleaning in the closet containing all our victimless crimes. So I hope this answers the question, and please share your thoughts on this in the comments below. It's extremely helpful to me. Some of these episodes will be turned into a longer podcast episode, so it's always good for me to have more perspectives on things. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you'll see me again tomorrow. I'm Asger. You can ask me anything, and please do so in the comments below. Have a good one. Cheers.